Right, so here's going to be a Hammer Scepter Focus Core Guardian match commentary. And immediately I'm going to explain why Hammer Scepter. Well, normally I would run Sword, Greatsword, right? But the thing is, if you have a double melee weapon, you're playing very aggressively, and there's not much kiting potential. While the Greatsword is really good for kiting because of the leap, you can't like counter pressure while kiting with it, right? Sorta, but not really. So the thing about Scepter is you can use it sort of to stick to your target. So it's harder to kite Scepter if you're engaging with someone, but it's much harder to chase someone who's disengaging you with Scepter. So it's better for matchups, whereas Sword and Greatsword is better for chasing people who disengage. So I'm just gonna try and damage their Necro here. I just put as much as I can on him, but our Firebrand goes down first. So what do we do as soon as our team is he actually gets rezzed? That's kind of surprising there, but he goes down again, and I just put as much cleave as possible on it because I have very flexible symbol usage with Scepter, so I can actually cleave pretty well. And now because of that, I can knock that Necro off the node, which is really nice. So having the ability to knock people off nodes makes a build insanely less risky because you can always bleed people no matter what. So that's a really good tool. So now we won the first team fight, even though it was a little bit questionable, and I'm just chasing, but remember I can't chase too well, so at this point the Necro Scourge, who's a Blood Scourge, so they don't do that much Condi application, so I'm not that afraid of a Blood Scourge, to be honest, because I have pretty decent cleanse on this build. So the build's going to be down below, by the way. And we get him down, and I knock the body away so that he can't be rezzed, and that's really amazing for preventing rezzes. So that's another reason why Hammer is so good, but we don't have any cleave here because the Guardian uses Sanctuary. So at this point, we are kind of losing this fight because my Engineer dies. I think he's a Scrapper, but they don't really have that much damage because Blood Scourge, and I have decent Condi cleanse, but I do get feared off the node, so I don't. As soon as we lose the node, I don't fight for it anymore, and I don't really see any targets that we can. Oh, their Necro is an easy target now because he's low, so I immediately go back in and get that, and I knock it away from getting rezzed, and then I try to cleave it. I'm gonna want Retell here, so I want to use my F2, and okay, this is really dangerous. I need to do insane cleave, so I'm gonna heal up and pop every cooldown I can, and that's it. I just pressed F1, F3 so that nothing gets interrupted. They get blinded. I put down Burn, I get Retell, and then I do Insane Burst with Hammer 2. And that's it, really. And I just used, like, you know, all of that. Most of that has no animation to it. So it's instant burst, and it's one of the best bursts in the game. So that was really good. That really helped us win that fight. Now I see the Thief doesn't want to 1v1 that Warrior, so I'm going to try and 1v1 it, even though it's kind of a bad matchup. I do have symbols that I can put on the node. Now, I do want to be careful here because, yeah, full counter can get procced by my symbols, and I'm actually low on cooldowns, so yeah, I get pulled into a rampage, so I'm just dead. I have no cooldowns. If I had any of my stun breaks, I might not have died there. So that was kind of a, like, if I had any of my cooldowns, like his rampage has a longer cooldown than my stun breaks, right? So I would be able to use my F3 and survive that. So Our Firebrand is just gonna die to that most likely. I don't think he knows how to survive. Yeah, he's already dead, so that's kind of questionable. Now, we're also dying at far, so I shouldn't really be here. I'm gonna get pushed here at mid pretty soon because we're dying at far, right? But I make the bad decision of staying, and I just saw like hope. So our NG is using like pistol. It's like scrapper with pistol. Anyways, I can put a lot of damage on this Reaper, but we're outnumbered, so it's going to be difficult. But they're not even chasing me, so I should be counter pressuring to help peel for my Necro. And I see that their Reaper has just left Shroud, so I can poke. And look, I can put so much damage without investing in, and then when it's low enough, I can go in with my hammer. And that's the power of Scepter, is I don't have to invest, and I can sort of like hit people and get them low for my burst, whereas Sword and Greatsword is sort of like all in. You're in melee range the whole time to do damage. So at this point, I'm getting heals from my Guardian, which is pretty nice, but we need to get a target down here. So I see the Necro's kind of low, but I actually land my burst on their Guardian, and we just need to cleave this. So I don't have any. Oh, I have a lot of retail, but it's gonna run out soon. And since I'm stuck in Scepter, I'm just gonna get ticks of decap while I'm cleaving this. Now you can see our NG. You see our Thief actually? No, the Thief. The Thief is going far to decap, but that was an insanely clutch moment. He should have been cleaving with us instead of going far to decap. Like that fight could have been thrown if they killed us. So our Thief really making a bad decision there, and he decaps far, which I could have done anyways after we won the fight. So that was very interesting and very telling to this Thief's knowledge. So immediately we see Firebrand, Scourge, and is that the Reaper? I'm gonna try and poke the Scourge down, but yeah, the Reaper decides not to go in, and I want to hold the node for a little bit because I know that they're I'm gonna go in invuln here, and I port away, so I create distance between them, and we get that kill. But if you look, our Thief is once again leaving in a cleave situation. He like gets the down bodies, and then he doesn't do anything afterwards. He like expects us to cleave for him, which I mean is nice, but he literally went to mid and did nothing else. So not sure what he's doing. He's now checking home when their whole team is killing me. Okay, so yeah, I need to disengage from that because I'd been focused, and I'm considering plus one-ing this Thief because he's probably going to lose that, but actually we've seen that Thief's decision making, so I think playing with him is probably not the best idea. So we just have to cut our losses there and actually win this team fight. So the Guardian is probably our one thing we want to kill, and I mob him in a symbol, but he evades my whole burst, so we're kind of in a bad situation here. But their Necro is also low and detached from his Guardian, so we can get some cleave there. And it looks like we're still dying at far, so I'm gonna go in, and they both die, so that's not really possible to do anything there. And I just want to kite them at mid and not die, but also not give up the node immediately. But their Reaper goes in Reaper Shroud, so I think I have to give up the node immediately. And I actually misclicked there because I was supposed to port to the Guardian to prevent the decap, but instead I was targeting the Necro, so that kind of was a bad play there to not retarget as quickly as I wanted to. So I'm just leaving. If any of them chase me, they can probably prevent me from decapping them, but it looks like they're not chasing me. So I'm gonna get this decap and prevent us from throwing. I'm gonna full cap it. So we lost home, and mid is looking bad as well because we have a kill and they have a down. So just depends on who gets the down. Now I get the full cap and I immediately go to mid, but I don't know if this is winnable. I do see they have a low Scourge. Yeah, it looks like he pulled in their Ranger as well with Transfusion, but I get the really huge burst on that Necro, and at this point I have Retail, so all I need to do is cleave while rezzing. So you see that huge cleave from my symbol there? That's really good cleave. And me cleaving while rezzing is better than me just strictly cleaving, because it's risky to let that Guardian just sit there in downstate because he could just die. And so I go for this kite spot here, which is kind of nice. Now the target is clearly the Necro, right? The Ranger is not the target. And I give stun break to my ally here because he gets hit by the Reaper stun. And then we just keep focusing. The Ranger can't really interact, and that's the beauty of Core Guardian. In a 2v2 like this, I can interact with my teammate by giving them stability and stun breaking for them like that. But a Ranger can't really heal or do much there. So that's the one thing that is really good about Core Guardian, is in small scale fights, not 1v1s, because you don't get much value from your virtues because they're AoE, but in like 2v2s or 3v3s, Core Guardian is really nice for giving its allies the support while also being a DPS class. And that's kind of like the main purpose for taking a Core Guardian, is kind of having a somewhat tankier team fight while also adding DPS to it. So it's by itself it's not as good, but it adds a lot to its team if played well. So there you go.